Live from the Washington, D.C. area, it's the Inside Scoop. All the news that our viewers want to know. Now, here's the host.
Good evening. My name is Russell Brooks, tonight's host of Inside Scoop. Tonight's program will concern a growing and increasingly important segment of Fairfax County's population, our Latino community. Not only is the Latino community taking on greater economic and cultural significance in the county, it is also seeking to play a greater role in the county's politics. This should not be surprising in view of the demographic, socioeconomic shifts that are taking place across the entire country, from border communities in the southwest of the United States to major cities including New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. To help us decipher the significance of what is taking place here and elsewhere, and what we should look out for in this critical election year, we are joined tonight by Maritza Zemeño, Chair of the Latino Caucus within the Fairfax County Democratic Committee. Mrs. Zemeño, welcome to Inside Scoop.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
You have a very interesting life story. You are originally from Mexico and arrived in Los Angeles in 2000 as a single mom with 4 children. You gained American citizenship in 2008 and moved to Virginia in 2012, and soon thereafter became involved in community activism. You are also now a staff member of the Rising Hope Mission Church, helping individuals lift themselves out of homelessness and poverty, and maybe dealing with food insecurity as well.
That's correct.
We hear a great deal about migrants in this year's political discourse and their motivations for coming to the United States. What motivated you to leave Mexico and come to this country?
Thank you. Well, I always dreamed about living in the United States before I even got married. And when I finally did, we wanted our kids to be born in the United States. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. And after I got divorced, I thought that it was going to be the only opportunity to really bring my kids to the opportunity that I always dreamed about it.
Okay. What difficulties did you face when you arrived?
Housing. and to be able to be in a place that I was going to be able to get help. So it was a difficult choice.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever regret your decision to come to the United States?
No, never.
Okay. But would you say your experience is typical for those arriving from Mexico or Central America to the United States?
No, I think it's a very different story. I came because I have a dream even before my kids were born, thinking that it would be nice if my family was raised here. Most of the people that come to the United States, they come because they're looking for opportunity to get their lives a better opportunity, to live better.
Mm-hmm. So keeping that in mind, and since we are a country of immigrants, whether we're talking about people who came many, many years ago or people who came more recently, do you think migrants are being unfairly demonized in today's political rhetoric, especially at the presidential level?
I think so. I can tell you that I see 3 different kinds of Latinos immigrants. The ones that are living in the West Coast, the ones that live in Texas, and the ones that live in the East Coast. People that live in the West Coast, especially in California, probably are 3rd or 4th generation of Mexicans that they were born there, and their lives are accustomed to different traditions. And people that live in Texas are more like they're coming from Mexico, that they are very attached to the Catholicism, the religion, and they usually see like a one issue in the ballot and tend to be that abortion. But people that live in Florida are more like a people that come escaping from a socialist country. So for them to hear the word social security, social this, so the government is coming after you, they tend to more like a both Republican.
That's interesting. That diversity that you're speaking about, I don't think many Americans necessarily appreciate that diversity in the Latino community. As you mentioned, maybe people who live in the border communities in Texas don't see things the same way as those in California, and they don't necessarily see things like Puerto Ricans in New York City or Cubans in Florida. They all have their own experiences, maybe even some cultural differences. And so one should understand that the Latino community, like all others, are very diverse, and you find a range of opinions. Would that be correct?
Well, especially in Virginia, because in Virginia we have Latinos from all over, from Puerto Rico, from El Salvador, Guatemala, from Brazil, from Argentina. We are really a diverse group of Latinos here in Virginia, which is different than the portion that lives in California or Texas or Florida.
Mm-hmm. And for those here in Virginia, how are they being treated? Are they having difficulties? We see instances where the governor of Texas has bused people to different parts of the country, causing strains on those cities. Also probably presenting real difficulties for the people who are being sent to some place that they may be totally unfamiliar with. And that contributes to this uneasiness that many people have about migrants and their situations. Do you see any of that taking place here in Virginia?
What I saw or I see here in Virginia, especially in the previous administration, it was the fear of ICE and the fear to be deported, especially that they were going after people that were going to churches. Some of those experiences were living in the area where I live, where ICE would come and just take people, And people here see things a little different. They're more afraid of the government. They're afraid that the government know who they are and they're gonna come and take them and send their families back. So that's the reason that we face some challenges when we register people to vote, because they don't want the government to know who they are or where they are, because even if they are citizens, they have a tío or tía or abuelo that lives with them, and they don't want to miss their family, being taken by ICE.
Think back to your days before you became a citizen. Did you have some of those same fears about running into the authorities?
I was illegal a couple of times, and they took me out of the car and sent me back. Yes, I was very afraid of immigration.
Okay.
Yes.
But now, as a community activist, you're doing a lot to help people adjust and hopefully maybe have an experience a little less difficult than what you had when you initially arrived. Would that be correct?
Well, when I hear that somebody just arrived and they don't have nothing, not even how they can build a home or where to sleep, yes, I have a couple of friends that I can always count on, and we mobilize to make sure that at least they get like the more basic needs, like a mattress, towels, sheets, something to cook. Yes, I just get excited when I hear that somebody just arrived, because it's a new opportunity to do something good. Not that they just came and they're gonna take something. It's more like what do they know? What do they do? What opportunities they're bringing to get their kids, being in the right place. So that's some of the things that I do, trying to find out what's the best way to help them so they can establish themselves faster and, they can be a burden to the society, more like what can I provide to the society.
Mm-hmm. And even with the work that you're doing, and I'm sure others are doing, is there more that we could be doing here in the county to help people who have just arrived?
Yes, and I can start with the English, because we always said, why can't just they speak English? Well, study English in Fairfax County is very expensive. And sometimes when there's places where they can learn, is not the right time, because if they're working in the morning, they cannot take English classes in the morning. If they're working in the afternoon and they are classes in the afternoon, they're working. But most of the places where they teaching or they can teach Spanish, English, they are in the mornings. And like I said, coming from the Fairfax County is expensive. When I was in California, California had a system that they were using the high schools for the night for people that needed to learn English. Any adult, we were able to come and start the conversation learning English for free. Maybe there's something that we can start implementing here in Fairfax County at one point. I would like to see that.
Now, those are programs for adults. How about for children? Are the school boards here, are they doing a good job of maybe helping children get their English up to par in order for them to succeed in the school system?
I still don't understand too much how the school system works, because I don't have children in school, but the best way to do it will be through programs with the parents, so the parents can really participate with activities with the kids in school, so they can learn how the system works, how can they get involved and practice, you know, the words that they can participate with the kids in classes.
In addition to learning English, I know when you were applying to be a citizen, you had to study, I think, American history and what we call civics classes and things of that nature, probably to some degree better than some native-born Americans. Is that also something that you encouraged the recent arrivals to learn, to really understand the history of this country?
Yes, something really, I want to try to find the word, something amazing happened when I came to Virginia, because all the years that I tried to become a citizen, when the time came to study for the test to become a citizen, you get all these questions and all these answers that you just have to learn it and say it. But it was not until I moved to Virginia that I really understand that this is where the history happened.
Of course. As I said, probably better than a lot of native-born Americans. Well, I'm really enjoying this conversation, but we are going to have to take a short pause. We will take this break, and we will be back shortly with more with Maritza Zemeño on Inside Scoop.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
I got a creak in my neck, limp in my step, cramping in my muscles every time I try to flex. But I'm scared of very sad all that I can do was remember you. You know I usually say no, but if you throw me love, I'll throw you some more.
It's a big responsibility.
Oh, it's huge. I know, it's huge.
And the salary.
Oh my god, yes. I mean,
Right.
like, I was about to move in with my parents, and right before, so this saved me.
I really believe in you, you know?
Thank you. It's nice to hear that from someone.
These are cool. Did you, what did you?
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Yes, we're back with Maritza Zemeño, chair of the Latino Caucus of the Fairfax County Democratic Committee. Let's continue. Upon your arrival in Virginia, you quickly became involved in party politics. You've worked with Representative Don Beyer. You're a member of the Central Committee of the Democratic Party of Virginia, a past chair of the Mount Vernon Democrats, a board member of the Virginia Democratic Small Business Caucus, and of course, you founded the Latino Caucus. What accounts for your passion for politics?
I want to make the difference, and this is where history started. This is where United States was born, and I live next to George Washington home. So I always think that Mount Vernon, believe me or not, should be telling the rest of Virginia and the rest of the country how things need to be done.
Okay. Do you have any political heroes?
Well, there's some people that really have made the difference in my life the way I see things, and I'm going to start with Congressman Don Beyer, with Senator Tim Kaine, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Teddy Roosevelt. I have quite a few.
What have you learned from them, either by working with them, like Representative Beyer, or maybe reading about them, like Teddy Roosevelt?
Well, I have, starting with Congressman Beyer, if he wake up every day thinking what good can he do to make things better for people, I mean, that's a very impact story right there. With Hillary Clinton, I know that she was trying to get like a insurance system that it will be available for families. And she was the first woman that really fight to become president. And unfortunately, she was not able to get there, but she did. Teddy Roosevelt, I saw a lot of little movies about the things that he was doing when he was president and things with his family. He makes sure that we preserve our parks, and I love, going to the park.
Many women have found it challenging to pursue their political goals. They've encountered various forms of sexism. They've been underestimated throughout their careers. We've heard that from Hillary Clinton, who you've mentioned, or Nancy Pelosi. Both are very accomplished, but neither would say it has been easy. How about you? How are you encountering, or are you encountering challenges due to your gender?
Not only to my gender, but because I'm Latina. And yes, I have faced big challenges with that. But thinking that I'm in Virginia, where the first president, was raised, and I just think that I can make the difference. So I try to put that on the side and try to look forward, not let that intimidate me. But it's been a challenge.
Okay, let's go into that a little bit more. You indicate that there are additional pressures due to the fact that you're a Latina. Can you be more specific?
Well, inside of the Democratic Party, where I live, there was still very few Latinos involved with politics. So it's been like a challenge for me to open the door to be able to help more Latinos be involved in the process.
Okay. Open the door or kick down the door?
Well, open the door.
Okay.
And being an officer of election give me the opportunity to talk to a lot of Latinos to be involved by becoming officer of election, because I was working, and I'm working, in a precinct that a lot of Latinos go to vote there.
Now, many young people question the importance of voting. and the value of being politically involved. Have you encountered this in the Latino community? And if so, what do you say to these young people?
Well, when I was registering voters, like in 2016, I've met a lot of people, like from other countries, that they have their kids as a first generation of Latinos that can vote, but they were not really interested in getting involved in the political process because they were just living by a permit, and they were very happy not to get involved in anything that was political. So they were not really encouraging their kids to be part of the change. And I think that has to do with their cultural background, you know, and the part that for the first time they were not being pursued by a political enemy, like in the country they were, you know. So that was a challenge right there. But that's the reason that we as the Latino Caucus were trying to be more outgoing and be in different fairs that we can show the Latino that it's so easy to register to vote, and the importance for them to teach their kids how they can make the difference growing up by being registered to vote when the time comes.
You have children. Do they support your political aspirations?
They're very excited to see that I get so passionate because they have a different feeling that I do, because it was for them easy to have their citizenship, not that they fought to be able to get it, right? Which it was my case. So every time that they see me being involved, doing something, they're really, really they're happy for me.
Would you want them to go into politics?
I think that when the time comes, they might have the idea that they can make the difference for the rest of the community. Right now, they're focusing the little ones, trying to make sure that they can go to school.
Of course. Now, you founded the Latino Caucus.
Mm-hmm.
There had to be a reason why you felt there was a need for a Latino caucus. Can you describe what that need was and how you addressed it?
Well, it was an opportunity, because being part of the Mount Vernon Democrats and seeing the lack of diversity while I've been working all these years to trying to make a positive change in the community, when there was an opportunity in this case that we can founded the Latino community, that's when I said, the Latino Democrats, that's when I said, let's start it. And since then, it's been 3 years since we started.
Did you have any opposition to starting this caucus?
I have some opposition, but when I have something in my mind, I just try to go get it.
All right, but again, go into a little bit more detail. What were the reasons why people said it wasn't necessary?
Some people think that just being as Democrats as a whole, we include everybody, but the time came where it was important to have different caucuses to really being able to represent the communities and do more outreach directly to that. So that's one of the reasons.
Okay. So some of your fellow Democrats thought we represent everyone already. Mm-hmm. There was no need for these separate caucuses. Mm-hmm. Was that the argument?
It was in part, but with a renewed organization of the Fairfax County, because we reorganize every 2 years, with the new ideas coming to the table and with the new bylaws as they presented, we were able to found the different caucuses, which we're still doing. But the first one we started was with the Black Caucus. Mm-hmm. Now we have the Latino Caucus, the Pacific Caucus, Pacific Islander Caucus, and there's a couple more that they are in the process.
And because these caucuses exist now, would you say that the party is even more representative of the diversity of communities that exist in Fairfax County?
Well, we're certainly fighting for it. You know, we have more opportunities to reach out to the different communities and have different events with the community and do more outreach.
Mm-hmm. What would you say have been the accomplishments of the Latino caucus?
Oh, well, we opened with Congresswoman Linda Sanchez and Congressman Don Bayer, so it was a huge success. And we're trying to have a different guest every month. We have a very nice bulletin where we posted different events and different activities that are happening, opportunities. So I think we're going in the right track.
Okay. And for those who may be interested in joining the caucus, I'm going to guess the first thing you'll encourage them to do is join the Fairfax County Democratic Committee, but I don't want to speak for you. Tell our audience what they should do if they're interested in joining the Latino caucus.
Well, if they're interested to join the Latino caucus, they can go to the Fairfax County calendar and see that we meet the last Thursday of every month, and they can sign to be in our meetings. But the Latino caucus is not exclusive for Latinos. The Latino caucus is open for anybody that has their best interest in the Latino community. So we welcome grandpas, grandmas, uncles, primos, tios, and they not need to be Latinos, but they have family that they're Latinos, or they're just interested in being part of helping the Latino community. So we are open arms.
Oh, good. Open to everyone. Even
Yes.
I could join.
Yes, even you can join. Yeah,
Good.
yes.
But are there maybe particular issues that consistently come up in the Latino caucus?
Well, we always talk about finding the right way to register more voters, give them the path to learn more about the political process, what is the importance of voting and make the change, and be part of the change in the community.
Be a part of the change.
Be part of the change.
It's time for another short break. So I want the audience to please stay tuned for this very interesting discussion about the Latino community in Fairfax County. We'll return shortly with more of this discussion on Inside Scoop.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
Oh, Dad, wait till you see the bike we got for Jake.
Hearing loss happens gradually with age, making it easy to ignore. Yet most older Americans aren't getting their hearing tested. Untreated hearing loss can keep your loved ones from enjoying what they cherish most.
Dad, can you hear me?
Don't let that happen. Speak up about hearing loss. You'll be glad you did.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, pet them, care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture, you can jump, yell, you can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. 'Cause we're connected.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
And our guest tonight is Maritza Zemeño, chair of the Latino Caucus within the Fairfax County Democratic Committee. Let's continue our really, really interesting discussion. You recently ran to be the district supervisor for the Mount Vernon area. You did not win, but you received more than 31% of the vote as a first-time candidate.
That's correct.
I also note that the Latino population in Fairfax County is approximately 17%, and 18% of the population in Mount Vernon. Last year also there was an abundance of Latino candidates running for office, which must have been quite exciting. But describe both the excitement with seeing so many Latinos running, and also describe your experience as a first-time candidate.
Okay, well, let me start that I was the chair of the Latino Caucus, and I said I was because I left my post to run for supervisor because we don't do endorsements, and I didn't want to have any conflict. So I resigned as the chair of the Latino Caucus to run for supervisor. But before I was doing that, and before I did that, when I was the chair, it was unbelievable that we have so many Latinos that decide to run for office for the first time. So we have like 4 people running for supervisors in Fairfax County. We have 1 running for clerk of the court, 1 running for sheriff. So we were around 1 running for the school board. So about 9 candidates, Latinos, running in Fairfax County. That was so exciting. We make history in that time. So while I resigned and start running, I was part of the pool. So I was so excited to be part of the making history, you know. Yes.
And it takes a fair amount of fundraising to run for office. Does that make it difficult for people who are otherwise interested in running and might be able to make a contribution but don't feel that they either have the funds or can raise the funds in order to be competitive?
There's a sign that I have in the living room that says, politics have become so expensive that even losing a campaign is very expensive. Yes, it is. That's a challenge, especially that now we're talking about thousands and thousands of money to be able to run a campaign. I was told, if you don't get $20,000, drop it. You're not going to be able to get there. But I managed to raise a little more than $12,000 in a very difficult time because my campaign manager got shingles and couldn't be part of my campaign anymore. So I have to finish the run by myself. But I had a good start, that he guided me in the right direction. So I was managing my time and reaching out people, making phone calls, do fundraising, making events. It's hard. It requires a lot of time, but I have the time in my hands, so I did it.
And I think we're all glad that you did, and we hope to see greater things from you in the future.
Thank you.
Let's talk about issues, though.
Okay.
Fairfax County, in some respects, is a fairly wealthy county, but we have people at varying economic levels in the county as well. You're working with people who are maybe on the lower end of the economic spectrum to some degree, and of course we know that there are communities that are quite wealthy. Are Latinos able to take advantage of the economic opportunities that exist here in Fairfax County?
I think that people don't know that there's resources. Because now that I'm part of the Rising Hope as a emergency service manager, coordinator, I have conversations with people that they don't really know how the system works. They're too busy trying to raise their family and trying to find jobs so they can pay the rent. So they really don't understand how these things work. There's some areas in the county, especially with the Latino community, that they have ambassadors now, that they are specifically target certain part of the community and trying to mobilize them to see where they have resources fairs, where to go if they need vaccinations for the kids, where can they go if they can have like a backpacks for going back to school. So there's programs that they start having some impact in the community, but most of the people, I don't think they know about the resources that Fairfax provides.
Okay. Also, I know many people in the county are deeply concerned about the lack of affordable housing. As an advocate for the Latino community, do you share that concern?
Oh yes, especially in the Corridor 1.
What would you like to see the county do to address that concern?
Well, especially in the Mount Vernon area, I can tell you that we need massive transit. The corridor in the route area, Route 1, where the Latino community are, was building the idea there was going to be affordable housing, but they really never give the opportunities for people to have jobs where they didn't have to travel to go to work. So unfortunately, we are getting dense areas where the housing is very not affordable, and people still have to travel to get jobs somewhere else. So I would really like to see that we bring massive transit and opportunities in the Corridor 1.
Mm-hmm. We also talked about this a little bit earlier, but how about educational issues? Is that a concern? One of the things that I read in your campaign material is the proposal that there be greater vocational training for members of the Latino community. Maybe greater vocational training for everyone, because as we know, not everyone desires to go to college or can afford to go to college. So maybe vocational training offers an avenue for people to improve their circumstances without going to college. Is that something that you are also concerned about?
Oh yes, of course. And that was something that I was always fighting. Now, Franconia has a wish center in the Habla Valley Community Center that they give classes, carpentry and welding, and some computer to some adults certain days. So that's the beginning, but it's not enough, you know? So every time I have the opportunity, when people come because they lost their job, I always tell them, you need to go there, find a class, take a course, and help yourself, you know, get a better job, you know. Mm-hmm.
Should that be made maybe a bigger part of secondary education?
Just imagine if every district has at least one wish center when people can have vocational education and help their families get out of poverty. That would be amazing.
Is there a need for maybe greater STEM education also for members of the Latino community? Science, technology, engineering, and math.
Yes, but I think that there should be like a special programs for parents. The parents can understand how the school system works. Because even for me, even though I don't have children in school anymore, it's hard to understand how the Fairfax County school system works.
Okay, interesting. Is crime and safety a concern for members of the community? And if so, is the county responding appropriately?
The county has programs with the police in certain areas where they have certain time conferences where the police come and talk to the community, and the community can express their concerns about incidents and things that happen inside the community, and they work together to see how can they fix it. That I know.
But it sounds as if maybe there should be more of that sort of communication between the police or law enforcement and the community.
Yes, and I think that the supervisors should make a little more effort to talk about when these opportunities happen, so people can go to the community centers when the police have meetings with the community, and they can express, you know, their concerns and see how people respond to their emergencies too.
Okay. When you ran for supervisor, you also mentioned the opioid crisis in some of your campaign materials. Are you still focused on that issue?
Not as much as when I was running, because in a way, kind of a focus and help the community to get a better jobs and know about the different programs that they can be assisted with. So I haven't really put a lot of attention to that lately.
But when you were running, obviously, either you or others thought it was of concern.
It was a big concern. It was a big concern.
What were you hoping that the county could do or should do?
That a lot of issues were happening in the Mount Vernon district about the opioid, and they were not being addressed. So that was part of my campaign at the time. Right now, we have advanced more in different ways to stop a crisis from happening and have the way to detect when something is happening. So I think we're making progress, but I cannot tell you at what stage.
Sure. And when you were referring to the opioid crisis, were you also talking about fentanyl, which I know is another concern in many of our communities in the county?
Yes, because I heard that somebody died because of an overdose, and they were trying to keep it in the quiet.
Who was trying to keep it quiet?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to say who was keeping it in the quiet, but I know that they were not talking about it to bring it as an issue, to bring more awareness to the parents of things that were happening in school.
That does not sound like a way to improve the situation when you don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, but it's, at the same time, it's like I look back and I can't believe it's been a year.
Yes, time does go fast. Well, I hope that there can be some progress made, and I believe you would feel the same way.
Yes, I do. I really think that we're going in the right direction, and I'm really happy with my job. Thank you, Joe.
Excellent. Well, we must take another short break, but again, please stay with us for more of our conversation on Inside Scoop.
Window. Correction, dude. You broke. I just threw the ball. This is really bad. What are we gonna do? We? Go to the door, ask for the ball back. Are you serious? It's my ball, Myrtleback. You're so dead.
I'd run away.
Yeah, to Uruguay.
Kiss your life goodbye. Sorry.
Let's go. See you, dude. See ya. Remember me and your well. Nice one.
Some friends you are. Hi. Hi. Tell him it was an accident. And we can fix the window. Come on. I'll come with you.
Loyalty. Pass it on.
You go first.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
One day these rats were playing in the woods. One of some matches and that's no good. Listen to smoke before you give it a try. Only you. Don't play with matches. Don't play with fire. Cause there's nothing very funny about nothing very nice. Homeless minds. So if a gorgeous force is what you desire, don't play with matches. Don't play with fire.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Fire.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again. But an awkward silence can be a great thing, like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health
at seizetheawkward.org.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Welcome back to our conversation on the Latino community here in Fairfax County with the chair of the Latino caucus of the Fairfax County Democratic Committee, Maritza Zemeño. As we all know, we are in an election year. We will be voting for the next president as well as our state's representatives in the Congress and the Senate. Both Democrats and Republicans will be energetically vying for the Latino vote. In fact, Republicans have made major gains with Latinos in recent years. One of the major questions this year will be whether this trend will continue. Why are Republicans making inroads with the Latino community? And what are Democrats doing wrong?
Well, usually Republicans try to put fear in the minds of the people, especially in Latinos, like they're gonna come after your family, or they're gonna come after your Social Security. They're trying always to put the fear in people, and they've been very successful in that part.
So I know you're a Democrat, but certainly some Latinos find the messages of former President Trump attractive. We talked about the diversity within the Latino community. So could you describe what they might find appealing about these messages?
I just don't get it. Literally, I just don't get it, because the more absurd things and more absurd his message is, seems like he is able to attract to more people. Unfortunately, he keeps saying that he loves the undereducated because they just follow him. And I guess in some of the cases that happen. But as a Democrats, every time we think about the Latino community, we think about inform and give them the opportunity to see things how they really are. Most of the Latinos, when I was, or when we were doing voter registration, they were afraid to register to vote because they were afraid that the government was gonna come after them, that the government will know that their grandpa was living with them or their uncle. But after we explained that, no, this is nothing, have nothing to do with the federal government. This is only for you to exercise, to right, to vote, and given the opportunity to understand how the process goes, we were able to register a lot of Latinos.
We're far from the southern border in Virginia. Mm-hmm. But even here, some voters are upset about the situation on the border. What is your opinion? Is this a legitimate issue? And are Democrats handling this issue particularly well?
Well, immigration is always a subject that comes right before the elections, a lot. And the previous administration really sent back a lot of progress that we have made in the past to be able even to process immigration citizen issues and permits, that now we are really so far behind that everybody is very confused about how things work. But if they were doing what they said that they were going to do, we didn't have any problems with immigration. So more than anything, immigration is an issue for presidential debate, in my opinion. Because once he became president, why didn't he fix it, right? If he promised that he was going to do it. Well, when a Democrat becomes a president, it's very hard to keep the promises of immigration, because it happened that most of the time they don't have the majority of the Congress and the Senate, and they really need that to be able to pass new laws.
Former President Trump also makes a major point of claiming that migrants are a source of crime and violence. Do you find these statements racist?
Oh, yes, they are. Especially when he ran for office, he said that all the Mexicans were rapists. So just imagine that. yeah, he just tags and say whatever he wants to say to make provocative, reactions from the public and get more people to follow him.
Okay. Now, many people also are currently noting the energy and enthusiasm that Vice President Harris has brought to the Democratic presidential campaign. Are you feeling that enthusiasm in the Latino community?
Oh yes, I do. I do feel it. There's a lot of people that all of a sudden woke up and they said, finally, I can be involved. I can do something about it. And you see it in one day how much money she was able to raise. Now we're just waiting anxiously to see who's going to be her running mate. Yes, I think it's a good change.
Mm-hmm. How do you think that enthusiasm and that energy is going to affect turnout here in Virginia and elsewhere among Latinos?
Oh, there's a lot of mobilization around, and people making postcards, people canvassing, knocking doors, making phone banks. Oh, we are mobilized. I don't think this is going to stop. I think we're just getting started.
Now, we've seen Hillary Clinton run for president. Mm-hmm. Some suggested the country wasn't quite ready at that time. Do you believe now the country is ready for a female president?
I think so. And I think a lot of things are happening now, and we're ready. We're ready to keep going up, and we're ready to make a difference. And we want to continue leading not only the country, but telling the world, how we make things happen.
Is there anything that Kamala Harris should be doing to increase her support within the Latino community?
Well, I can tell you that I get so many messages every single day now since last week about all the opportunities there are for people to get involved and be part of the change, that I think she got a good start, and I think she's going to make it to the end. I think we're going to have the first president woman in the United States. I really believe so.
Mm-hmm. Now, some are undecided, still weighing, I guess, the positions of the former president and the positions of the vice president. What would you say to that undecided Latino voter?
Wait for the next debate. I think she's ready.
Of course, the former president says he won't debate her unless it's on Fox, or Fox News, I should say. So again, that undecided voter may not get the opportunity to see the two of them debate. So what would you say to persuade him or her that they should support the vice president?
We are in a momentum when we can be part of history. Either we are with her and make history, or we're just going to stop history from happening. That will be my intake.
Okay, sounds like you're saying you don't want to go backwards, if I could quote the vice president.
No. So right now, like for example, Mexico, for the first time in history, is going to have a woman president. Why not United States? I think we're ready. She's ready. As soon as she announced, everybody jumped out of the chair and said, well, let's go for it. So I think we're ready.
Okay. And when are we going to have a Latino candidate to go for president or vice president?
I don't see anybody that is a Latino in her choices for vice president.
Well, maybe not among the current batch of candidates.
Okay, but I think
let's look for 8, 12
couple
years
of more
from
years.
now.
I think there's a chance. We have one black president. Now we're going to have a woman president. Might as well have a Latino too.
Mm-hmm. Now there are Latina governors. If I remember correctly, the current governor of New Mexico is well respected. maybe she could be that first one. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But we have Latinas that are making big impact in their communities, and they really know how to reach out to their citizens, and I think that people are notice the difference. I think we're getting ready, little by little, but we're getting there, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
As we start with Fairfax, and now we have several Latinos already in office. Mm-hmm. So the door is open.
Oh yes.
We're gonna get there.
The door is open.
Mm-hmm.
As you develop that maybe next generation of Latino candidates, both here in Fairfax County and in Virginia writ large, what advice would you give them to develop their political careers?
Well, I tell them that when we learn how things work, how our government works, how a county is different than a city, how and how much is important to vote in every single election in Virginia. Because when I was registering people to vote, I was shocking to see that a lot of people only vote in presidential elections. That was really shocking to me, especially that Virginia is one of the couple of states that have elections every year. And we're voting only for presidential. That means that they really don't know how the government works. Because when you understand the importance of voting in local elections, where you really make an impact where you live, it's gonna be so easy just to vote for president. But when you vote for presidential elections and you don't vote for the local races, you really don't understand the impact that causes in your community.
So it sounds as if there's still work to be done.
Oh, yes.
In terms of voter education. Would you agree?
Oh yes, when we were doing the voter registration, we have a binder with the next 4 years, and we will show into people why we vote every year and what's happening in the next 4 years and what the offices means and represents for their community.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, we've run out of time, but let me thank you, Maritza Zemeño, for joining us tonight on Inside Scoop. And thank you, the audience, for tuning in. And please join us again soon for another edition of Inside Scoop. Good night.